G'day, Aaron here, Rustic Traders, here to show off another push bike. So here we've got a different one. We've got a Spartan. So before getting this bike, I've got another Spartan tucked away and I knew nothing about it. Showed up in Brisbane, bought it, beautiful bike, and never been able to find out anything about it. Anyway, long story short, shout out to George. Thanks for supplying me with his bikes from Adelaide. Here we have some Adelaide built track bikes. Okay, yeah, Spartan. Now, beautiful bike, track bike. Even says Spartan Track on there. And we've actually got a name on here, Ted Lloyd. So this was written by Ted Lloyd, the PAACC. So we've got the Port Adelaide Amateur Cycling Club. So Ted Lloyd, if anyone knows who that is. Beautiful bike, very elegant in its design, thin frame, lightweight track. So some of the roadsters or utility bikes are made a bit more robust to ride on what was probably bumpier roads back in the day than what they are today, unless you're in Queensland, got rut holes everywhere. Now, another thing about track bikes is, if you have a look here, they don't actually have a fitting for a brake. Normally you'd have a hole there to mount your brake, but this was a track bike, so they didn't use brakes. They just pedaled their guts out single speed, a fixed gear, so there was no need for brakes. This looks like it's had brakes added later on. If anyone was going to ride it on the road or something, you kind of want brakes, although there is still people that ride around on total fixies with no brakes. Now the rims, there would be a 700C or possibly even a 27. This is 1950s. So these were a tubular tyre. So not a clincher, which is like what you'd know to just be a standard tyre. These were actually tubular tyres that they glued on. I've never tried gluing them on myself. I've had no experience bothering with that. Haven't really wanted to. Now you can see the very much more sort of delicate dropouts as well. Finite, so it's super lightweight for the track. Large chainring on the front, larger than a lot of just the standard roadster sizes because it was all about getting speed. The cranks are sort of fluted out there to make light, and they're really skinny. This is all about making it lighter. You've probably seen sometimes even drilled holes in them to reduce the weight by a tiny little bit. But the original pinstriping is still on there, very sort of fancy pinstriping and flourishing. The fancy swirly bits are called flourishes. Shop's logo there. And really lovely lug work. A lot of these lugs didn't come out like that. Guys in the shops used to spend hours filing away to make them look like that. Even the top of the seat stay there is grooved out, if you can see that, just a nice little touch. Fancy lugs on the front and the forks. And on the front here, see these lugs are very fine out. They're cut out. So it's almost like a web of a lug there. And you've got the S, which is brazed on. So it's not a usual badge as much. It's become a part of the frame. So beautiful bike. I couldn't pass it up. I had to get this shipped from South Australia to me. But knowing I already had one and able to find out the story, I wanted it. But also, I got a frame, Spartan frame as well. Remnants of the logo there, SPAR, Spartan. Again, with the cutout lugs. Very, very fancy, and you've got the brazed on S, but also this one has the addition of the S, brazed on S on the seat tube as well. Now this one I'm guessing was more of a semi-track bike. One of the reasons being you could put brakes on this one. You know, same sort of track dropouts and thin stays, but this one has the brake bridge there so that you could put your brakes on. The cranks may not be original to the bike, but the cranks are later cranks. It's not removable, the chainring, it's all just pressed on there. Now these forks are quite obviously not the original forks, and their level is not up to the level of the bike. So I will at some point be putting these forks on there, which are more to the level of the bike, and we'll have to thread the steer tube manually to make it fit in there. Got some Adelaide bikes. Shout out to anyone from Adelaide that's watching this. This just seems to be the coolest bikes down there in South Australia. Lots of cycling history in South Australia. Queensland does have cycling history too, but it seems South Australia, there was just more people or something like that. Really big following down there. So many nice bikes and options pop up there. So anyway, showing off a couple of nice bikes. See you next time to show off more bikes.